Hey guys, I think this thing's working. Once again, no second monitor, so, right, I'm Datamancer, Cody Sandwith. You all can see my name. I'm not trying to hide, just I like my username. Yeah, okay, so this stream's gonna go really well. I've just been back from the bar, had a few beers, and now I think I'm gonna drive a little bit on a track that I know poorly. The Circuit de la Sarthe, naturally, the home of the prestigious 24 Hours of Le Mans. That's right, Frenchies, I said it right, even as a dirty American. I think I said it right, whatever. I guess most of my frame of reference for pronouncing that correctly is Talladega Nights. Yeah, whatever. I like Formula U as well. So I'm going to be driving the 787B, the rotary-powered Le Mans LMP1 car, and the only JDM automobile that's ever managed to win Le Mans. Yeah, Toyota, looking at you, fools. And, I don't really feel like walking through the track. I mean, really, I think the few random people that are going to wander in here probably already have a pretty good handle on the Circuit de la Sarthe. I guess I'll talk through it a little bit the first lap, because I got to remember what I'm doing, but mostly I just wanted an excuse to be a little intoxicated and talk about Le Mans from this year, since I've started streaming, well, you know, today, or whatever, and Le Mans happened, and it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty neat. I thought it'd be fun to talk about. Anyway, alright, well, whatever. I'll talk you guys through a lap. Oh, jeez. Well, I'll talk you through it if I don't blow it, which I just did. Alright, I'm going to start. I was talking, not thinking, and again, not an expert at this track, so. This chicane should be taken in second, but obviously we're just getting started. The second chicane coming up here should be taken in first. It is slow, and just vicious, and this happens a lot. Okay. Listen to that rotary power. Now that's just beautiful. It's going to come out one way or the other, but I'm a huge Nissan fan, but man, I love me a rotary. Okay, in this corner, you have to be braking like here, all the way through, down for this straight, which second seems like a good number. Yep. And just really sketchy on the exit of this corner. I kind of think that might be the mod, not necessarily the reality. That can be taken faster. Then down to third. Basically, as soon as you straighten out of that last corner, you come down to third. You stay in third through these two. Why am I in first? Oh my god, okay. I'm blaming that one on the alcohol. Stay in third for this corner, which totally didn't work. Yeah, I'm blaming the alcohol. That's whatever. Yeah, so much for talking through the lap, guys. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, the 24 Hours in Le Mans, if you hadn't heard, is a race. Goes for 24 hours on this lovely track, which is mostly a road course, and it's pretty mad. The 787 won it in the mid-90s. I'd be lying if I said I remembered exactly what year. I am blowing this. Wow, holy god. You guys are going to think I'm the worst driver ever. Turns out after a beer or two, yeah, I'm pretty bad. Whatever, just ignore that. Next lap will be better, I promise. But yeah, it won in the mid-90s, like 94, 96, something in that region. It cracks me up. It's got a 5-speed transmission, so just let that sink in for a minute, that this is a car that's going to go in excess of 200 miles an hour, I think. I assume. I don't know. I don't know how to convert kilometers per hour into miles per hour, but it doesn't go slow, and it does it with 5 speeds. And it still has enough grunt in first gear to really kick you around. But that was sort of the beauty of rotaries, right? Like, how you take something that, by best proper measurement, is like a 1.3 liter, and make not only the horsepower was never, well, it wasn't always there for rotaries. What rotaries did have was torque. And now y'all correct me if I'm wrong. The people that watch this, if anyone ever watches this, go ahead and correct me in the comments if that's incorrect, but I'm pretty sure rotaries make pretty good torque. So you can have a car that's geared out to madness, even on only 5 speeds, and yet still make enough torque to have grunt in first gear. I like rotaries. I want to own a rotary one day. I know they're unreliable. And that's part of it too, right? Rotaries are unreliable, right guys? I mean, you'll tell me. You know what's going on. And yet a rotary won Le Mans, which is to say a rotary finished Le Mans. And my favorite team in the whole wide world, Nismo, couldn't even pull that shit off with a fucking front wheel drive. Oh, don't get me started on Nismo. I'm super upset with them right now. But they couldn't pull it off back in the day either. They were running that cool R390. That was way too slow. They were running that cool R390, which is... When you see that thing and go... It's got that 90s Nissan styling. It wants to be a freaking R32 GTR, but it's a freaking LMP1 Le Mans car, and it's just excellent. I love that. I'm rambling. Yep. Blame it on the beer. But no, I love the rotary. The rotary did fantastically back in the day. Now Mazda doesn't even play. And I think that's one of the things I want to talk about. As I damage the car. Whatever. Who needs a front wing on the circuit anyway, huh? No clutch. No clutch sadness. Try to do a better lap this time. I'm ostensibly warmed up. But Le Mans this year was really interesting. This is maybe off topic or whatever, but if any of you guys have Amazon Prime out there, Amazon Prime Video, Amazon put out a pretty cool little documentary thing, dramatized documentary about the 2015 Le Mans. I think it was 2015. It might have been 2014. They were a little coy about it. Like I don't remember them outright saying, "Oh, this is the 2015 Le Mans." They just wanted to talk about how cool the race was, and they were right. It is a cool race. And they interviewed all the teams, and they were talking about the dominance of this team and how this team was a young up-and-comer. But to watch that in 2017 and have them talk about Nismo, like, oh, the Delta Wing project, this front-wheel drive, crazy project, maybe it'll just work. By the time the show came out, Nismo had already publicly pulled out of LMP1. The project was dead. They had no interest in continuing it because, frankly, and this is correct, it was an abject failure. It's still extremely disappointing. As a GTR fanboy, as a Nissan fanboy, that just breaks my damn heart. Meanwhile, you've got the more front and center battle, Porsche and Audi, going on. And you go, oh, Audi, they're the new killers. They can't be stopped, you know, lately or whatever. And then you've got Porsche, the old-time, long-standing winners. They just win. But they've been getting trounced by Audi, so what will they do? That makes for great drama on it. Jesus. That was me. That was my fault. I ate way too much of that curb. I honestly didn't mean to hit any of it, but so it goes. See, I joked the first time I started racing this track that if it was the 10 minutes of Le Mans, I'd still crash and fail. But that's a different problem. So they talk about all this, and this is all really cool to listen to, you know. Then they've got Toyota, like Toyota's trying, you know. And we all know, I think if you follow Le Mans, you know Toyota's troubles. If you don't follow Le Mans, let's just say the only anecdote you need to hear is that Toyota had a car that was in first place in you guys are going to correct me, 15 or 16, I think it was 2016, that retired halfway through the final lap of the race. So they did, you know, 23 hours, 58 minutes, and then the car blew up. I mean, how heartbreaking would that be? And to pour that much money in and not see the win. So I applaud them for continuing, but so you hear all this. You hear about all this drama back in 2015 and how cool it is. And Radical Racing is one of the ones they interviewed a lot, and that was kind of cool because they were young and it's not a rich team. They don't have a lot of money. And, you know, will they be able to even finish? Da 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 da. Well, Radical Racing did pretty decently this year in LMP2, as I recall. Though, if you watched it this year, especially if you're like me and had this was the first year I watched the 24 hours of Le Mans. I'm taking these curves like a total wuss. Just disregard me for now. My driving is not on par at the moment, but I'm gonna keep doing it just to do something. But if you watched it this year, if this was your first year watching Le Mans, and especially if you'd watched that Amazon thing, and if you've been kind of following Le Mans, you show up this year and you go, first and foremost, where in the hell is Audi? I thought Audi was supposed to be the hot shit. Yeah, that's what I thought anyway. Audi's out. Audi doesn't want to do Le Mans anymore. They think the LMP1 program is far too expensive, and it doesn't garner the results you'd expect given the investment. And that's totally, I think, 100% reasonable, you know. Return on investment's what it's all about, right? So, I'm trying to take that corner a little bit more racy, and that's what I get. I'm afraid to brake with this car. I feel like it's going to kill me. It is a mid-90s Le Mans car. It's pretty vicious, honestly. So, get the apex. Don't die. Oh, we're dying, boys. Alright. Sorry, I got some Jimmy Broadbent-isms because Jimmy's awesome. If you haven't seen his channel, please check it out. He just hit 20k subscribers and wept about it, which was freaking awesome. Honestly, it was great viewing. That sounds terrible. It sounds like I'm an asshole, but I love Jimmy. He's great. We've never met. I don't know him. I'm not chilling for him for any particular reason other than I like him. Okay, sorry, I keep getting off topic. So Audi's out. Porsche's still there. Toyota's still there. I watched most of the second half of the race, which as an American meant that I basically started watching the race at 10 o'clock at night and kept running it until it ended at 6 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time. It was a late night for me. I only fell asleep once. You'll be proud. I've had a few beers. That's going to be a running theme. But it was really cool to watch. It was just disappointing. I actually was really rooting hard for Toyota. Just because if you're going to spend that money, and you know those engineers are working so hard, you know those drivers are training so hard, just to not get there is kind of... It's so depressing, right? Like, it's like if you put yourself in those shoes, you know, how heartbroken would you be, you know? Like, that seems pretty realistic to just sort of be... You're really looking for at least a finish, you know? And Toyota this year did have a finish, but not without 2 hours of maintenance, or 4 hours of maintenance mid-race, which is something like that. It was a ridiculous amount of time spent in the pits. But they finished in, like, 8th. You know, Porsche had 2 failures. I'll alternate between saying Porsche and Porsche. You guys can tell me when I'm wrong. I don't care. Whatever. And Porsche won. You know. That was actually one of their secondary cars, if I remember right, that won. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Kind of doesn't matter. But what the real news, aside from Audi not being there, I think was probably, in my mind, the biggest surprise to see, was that this just kills me. I mean, this is so awesome, right? Jackie Chan Racing. Jackie Chan DC Racing. Now, when I hear DC, I'm assuming they are talking about the fucking skateboard shoe company where I've bought, you know, $40 shoes from them a few times. Like, are you serious? Like, DC shoes? Put an LMP2 car out there, or LMP1, or no, LMP2 car, and Jackie Chan helped fund it. Like, it's like my youth all tied into one big bundle. They put a car out there and it got 2nd place. It was the first car in Le Mans history and the first LMP2 car to lead Le Mans, if I understand correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it was the first LMP2 car, I'm pretty certain about this one, to ever podium in Le Mans, in the overall podium. Which is you know, they always say it's 4 separate races, right? Well, when LMP2, oh, I guess that wasn't the pit, or if it was, I just didn't do it right. Yeah, this is the pit up here. Yeah, see, I know this track really super well, guys. I mean, whatever. But I mean, that was super cool, right? Like, that was just really neat to see Jackie Chan Racing and DC Racing do that, because, well, it's never been done before. I mean, that's really just I just find that really fucking amazing, you know? Oh, I didn't set up. Oh my god, I don't have this all set up, so, well, whatever. Ways to take damage within 3 seconds. I mean, it never escapes me that the idea is to do 24 hours, right? So when I take damage 5 seconds after exiting the pits, I always feel it more on this track, somehow. I mean, I hate that anyway, right? Everyone hates that shit, but... God, if any of you guys out there are actual sim racers who are watching me do this and thinking I'm driving like a grandma, well, you're right. I've always been of the humble opinion that Le Mans cars should be stable first and fast second. This one's the other way around, in my humble opinion. It's not, it doesn't feel neutral, it doesn't feel safe, it feels actually quite vicious, oversteer happy, and that might be my throttle discipline, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's easy to blame the car, right? But really, honestly, it's almost always the driver's fault, and I admit that. So, yeah. But I mean, what a crazy result, and, you know, I had fun with it, though. I watched the 24 Hours of Le Mans for the first time this year, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I would. Just like I didn't think I'd enjoy F1. If anybody out there watches this video, and they haven't seen an F1 race before, and they haven't seen a Le Mans race before, you know, you might be like me. You might be like, oh, F1, you know, the cars all sound funny now, and it's always the same guys that win, and it's like they get started and then they just drive in a line, you know, in a big train for the entire race, and there's not really any overtaking and this and that. Well, that's not like 100% false. It's just an exaggeration. It's a negative exaggeration of what F1 is. The cars are fairly balanced, and yet there are a few that are significantly faster than the others. But when you look at the race pace, when you look at qual pace, qualifying is arguably, in my mind, one of the more exciting parts of F1 at this point, because to watch cars come in that are hundredths separated, I mean a hundredth of a second, you know, 300ths of a second separated, you know, that's nuts. That's so close. Like, as a racer, as a sim racer, as an aspiring reality racer, I feel like a gap like that, I'd find that gutting. Like, it would be so depressing to be like, how did I get that close and not make it, you know? How could I ever hope to do faster than that? Maybe that would be my mindset. I guess I've never been there, so I really don't know. But quals are fun. The cars are all really close. They're all within like a second of lap time, you know. That's pretty good. If that's not entertainment to you, then man, I'd be curious to see what kind of sporting events you like to watch, where you don't have one team that's fairly dominant. You know, as an American, if you're an American and you're watching this, maybe you think Formula 1's stupid, or maybe you've never watched it and you're curious or whatever. I guess you're watching me drive a Japanese car around a French track, so you really must be at least a little open-minded, you know. It's like every sport you watch has a dominant team. Look at NFL, you know, the Patriots. The damn Patriots and goddamn Tom Brady, the freaking greatest of all time. I hate to say it because, you know, go Seahawks, whatever. But it's like, that's just sports. That's just how it goes. There's always a dominant team. Somebody has to win, right? So I always thought that was a pretty unfair assessment of F1. I didn't always think that. I think that now, I suppose. You know, I think F1's really exciting. I look forward to it every time it's coming up. I drive the races here on Assetto Corsa, and I'm going to be streaming them to you because I think it's just so much freaking fun. I love talking about it, obviously. You listen to me just jabber on for God knows how long I'll go tonight, probably until my wife gets home. But F1's great. If you've never seen F1, and you like cars, I don't care if you like racing, maybe you don't watch any racing at all. Maybe you don't like pavement racing, maybe you're really into dirt racing, but you don't watch racing, or you only watch rally, or you play video games that are about racing, Forza, or something more hardcore, or whatever. I'm not trying to judge, you know. If you are an enthusiast about cars, I think F1 is actually one of the more accessible racing to watch. NASCAR has so much nuance, right? Like, I don't want to disrespect NASCAR, and I don't like people that do, only because, not because I'm a fan, I don't watch it at all. I've never seen an entire race end to end. But I don't like people that diss on it because I think it's really, really dismissive, and it really discounts. If you don't think NASCAR is challenging racing, if you don't think that's, like, legit, then I would encourage you to maybe research it more, because there's really a lot to the strategy and the racing there. F1's fantastic. I thought 24 Hours was fantastic too. I only thought it was going to be boring, and I'll tell you this, I think I had a very good reason for thinking it would be boring without knowing anything about it. I went into it and thought to myself, it's a 24-hour race. The gaps are going to be huge. It's going to be like, oh, the guy in first is 6 laps ahead of the guy in second, you know, 12 hours into the race. I mean, isn't that a fair thing to think, like, with 24 hours? But that is so not how it ends up going. I mean, maybe not in every class, but, like, I think of the GT3 class, they were always within, for 24 straight fucking hours, they were within, like, 5 seconds of each other, within striking distance. I mean, and it came down, I think one of the final position changes for, I think, Aston Martin, who, congratulations to Aston Martin, y'all did very well this year. I think that happened on the very last lap of the race. Of a 24-hour race. Try to contemplate, you know, how intense that is. I mean, that's amazing. So, when I figured that out, when I realized that it wasn't going to be like that it wasn't just going to be some sort of a runaway race, as soon as I realized that, I started to really watch it, and man, I mean, it's not 100% edge of your seat action. There's no, sorry, I'm breaking again. It's not as intense as an F1 race or a NASCAR race or a, you know, I don't know, fucking foot race. But when it has its moments, I think they're more meaningful. Jesus. In some ways, they're more meaningful because you've worked for, potentially you've been running a strategy for like an hour. Like, isn't that weird? Like, my strategy involves an hour of time, and it's finally paying off here, you know, 60 minutes after I devised it. That's ridiculous to me. That's insane, and you get that in Le Mans, and you don't get that, I mean, you get it a little bit in other races, you know, but not much. I don't think you get that a lot in other races. Okay, yeah, so I've been rambling, I don't even know where I left off. I was talking about Le Mans this year. To recap, sucks to be Toyota. I really want to see you guys win. I think you have it in you. You gotta get the reliability right, you gotta get the speed right. If you can get both to happen at the same time, you'll win. I know it. Although Porsche is not a slouch, I don't want to take anything away from Porsche or try to talk shit. Porsche is amazing. They've built some amazing cars. That 919 is nasty. I wish some other people would play in the LMP1 game. That's right, but this is one of the other big takeaways that I hadn't brought up, is Porsche is trying to leave. They don't want to do LMP1 anymore. So, okay, Toyota, here's the new game. If Porsche leaves and you're the only LMP1 manufacturer, I don't think it'll be the case necessarily, but it could be. It's a hollow win. It means nothing. If you can't beat at least Porsche, if not both Porsche and Audi, then who fucking cares? You know, it just doesn't, it's not the same. I mean, you guys tell me if you feel that way too. I keep saying you guys as if anyone's watching me, but maybe somebody will one day. I just, if you see this and it's been a year and a half since I streamed it, and you comment, I will still reply to your comment. I will do that. I'm pretty anal that way, I think. Unless I've got millions of viewers or some crazy, in some weird bizarro land where I'm unpopular, but I don't think that'll happen, so I will comment on your comment. I will reply to your comment if you hit my video. But you know, it just, oh, I'm beer in one hand. I thought the straights is where you got to take a drink of beer. I was wrong. So if Porsche pulls out, LMP1's dead. That's what I've been telling people. LMP1 is dead, at least until they rebuild it or refigure out rules or something. But the problem is, you can build an LMP1 car for, you know, $100 million or some insane amount of money. However much it is, it's the ratios I hear are pretty close. $100 million. You can build an LMP2 car for $500,000 or $750,000 or maybe even like something like $2 million. But think about that. For 2% of the cost, you end up with a car that ends up second on the podium. Could have been first. At the rate Porsche was losing cars, could have been first. I mean, hell, you had to think. I watched the last 4 hours of that race waiting for that Porsche to fail. I wanted to see freaking DC Jackie Chan racing on the top of the podium because of how ludicrous it would be to say that I was there for that spectacle, you know? Like, I don't think that's good for the sport. I think that would have been the death of LMP1 right then and there. Right now, I think there's a chance that it could stick around. But it's a trip, you know? Like if you were getting into if you were going to get into Le Mans, if you wanted to buy a Le Mans car, get into it, do it. If you won the lottery or something, it's like, sure, a prototype's cool, like a LMP1 prototype, a serious prototype. I don't think your accountant would agree, though. I think your accountant, if you were hard set on it and you had a cool accountant, I think he'd be leaning you toward LMP2 or GP or GP. I mean, or GT, excuse me. Because I mean, you can get your. I mean, especially if, like, I mean, let's say your dream is that you're going to drive it and you're actually managed to do all that. We're in Fairyland right now, and that's fine. If you're in Fairyland and you're going to drive a car in Le Mans, how much, you know, okay, is a prototype cooler than a GT3 car? Yeah, probably. But are you going to turn your nose up at driving a Ford GT? Or a, I mean, that's the one I would drive, personally. And now that we're talking about GT3 cars, I'm back to being angry at Nissan. Nismo, my people, why the frickin' hell is the GTR not in Le Mans? If it's too slow to be in Le Mans, it's too slow to be on your showroom floor as your Halo car. Why is my favorite company a company who's got ages, absolutely ages of racing heritage? Why are they not fielding a car that can compete? Fucking Toyota showed up. I mean, Jesus. You know, like, there were Skyline LMPs, weren't there? Or not LMPs necessarily. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, no, they weren't LMPs, but there were Skyline, like, R32 or R33 LMP1 cars or something, or not, I keep saying that, GT3 cars? They did it, and I'm about 99% positive they did it with the GTR as well. Jeez, that corner, whatever. I'm gonna run out of fuel. Fuel gauge there in the lower left. This is a rotary. It doesn't drink, it gulps. I could short shift, but what's the fun in that? I'll just run out of fuel. It's a video game. I'm not even going to make it down the next straight. Activate drift strats. I mean, I really, yeah. I'm disappointed in Nissan. Nismo has been... They've been kind of failing me. I'm pretty disappointed. I'm pretty disappointed with their current automotive offerings. There it goes. Man, that thing was drinking fuel at the end. Oh, I'm hurting the engine. Oh, I just blew the engine. Handbrake. Oh, this thing doesn't have a handbrake. That's weak, too. Alright, I'm gonna just go a little more, and we'll call it a day soon here. It drives me nuts. Nissan can't put a car out there. I mean, you know, Renault and Nissan are the same thing. So you look at Renault and F1, and they're like an abject failure right now. On some, you know, the Renault Works team is doing terribly. The team that's running Renault that's actually worth talking about is Red Bull, and Max Verstappen's car keeps breaking. Although, hey, Ricky Rocket, to use Bill Pilmer, or Bill whatever the fuck his name is, nickname for him, Ricardo knocked out a first-place finish last week. I mean, holy hell, that's dope. I mean, that's not expected. On some small level, I did realize, you know, that's a Renault engine sitting on the podium, and that's not for nothing. But generally speaking, right now, as far as I understand it, Nissan doesn't have like any skin in the game. There better be a new GTR coming, and I ain't talking about some tarted up version of the 2007 GTR. It's time for a new freaking GTR and a new Silvia. Let's be honest. They need something to compete with that fucking FRS, right, or the GT86, whatever you all call it globally. I'm one-handing it. I'm one-hand driving here. Got a beer in one hand. Salomon should be done. Although it should be champagne, of course. Gotta keep it fancy. But yeah. Okay, I think I've exhausted all the topics about Le Mans that I wanted to hit. Porsche is trying to leave. If they do, it'll be game over for LMP. Toyota is my biggest disappointment in the whole wide world, aside from maybe Nissan, who shouldn't be. Congrats to Jackie Chan DC Racing, that was pretty dope. The Ford GT was fucking cool, but it still got beat by an Aston Martin. I think that's pretty lame on Ford's part, but congratulations to Aston, your cars were better than I give them credit for, usually. Although the DB9 was just a sex machine, honestly. That thing was just the coolest damn car. That was the James Bond car you guys haven't made in 30 years. That was pretty dope. Anything else? I think Radical did good, but I can't remember exactly what the final standings were for them. And, yeah, the 787 Bravo. 787B is just... Listen to that thing scream. I guess while I finish up my lap, anecdotally, the fastest recorded top speed at Le Mans, in case you guys didn't know, was 400 kilometers per hour, which in proper numerology is about 245 miles per hour, 250. It's fucking stupid fast is what it is. It was done by Peugeot. Those of you who are not fans of rally are now spit-taking. Those of you that are fans of rally might spit-take as well until I tell you that it was done in 1988, the year of my sweet, sweet birth. And you might know that Peugeot was not fucking around in Group B. They were I mean, that Peugeot 205 was ridiculous. Anyway, they put out a car, Project 400. They put out a car in Le Mans whose specific goal was to hit 400 kilometers per hour on that back straight. That back straight didn't used to have the chicanes, so it used to be one giant long straight. And they wanted to go as fast as they could, and the goal was 400 kilometers per hour. They did it. They put a car out there, And it did 400 kilometers per hour. And then the next lap it broke down. So, I thought that was a neat story. I thought that was a neat anecdote. You should look it up. Pretty nifty story. Alright, if I keep going, I'm just going to rattle on all night. I don't know if you guys... I don't know if people like that. I'm about to find out eventually, I'm hoping. I suppose finding out might be sort of a inaction thing if nobody shows up to watch my streams, but that's neither here nor there. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it there. That was fun. Well, I'm enjoying the streaming thing, so I figure I'll do it again. Like it if you like it, because that would make me feel better about continuing to do it. If you don't like it, don't like it. Or thumbs it down. That would be pretty cruel, but, you know, I think my self-esteem might be able to take that blow. I'm going to keep doing this for a little while. If people start watching, people start liking it, then I'll keep doing it. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good evening, and I will catch you guys next time.